Hi, I'm Fallon. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. You might want to grab a drink and get comfortable because this story about how my perfect romance turned into a nightmare might take a while to tell. I was crushing it at Anderson Reality, making senior agent at 28 while most of my college friends were still stuck in entry-level positions. That February morning started like any other. I was preparing to show a luxury penthouse to a potential buyer. The kind of property that could set up my entire quarter if I closed the deal. Fallon, your 10 o'clock is here early. Madison, my best friend and fellow agent, poked her head into my office. And girl, you might want to fix your lipstick before you go out there. She gave me that knowing smirk that meant the client was attractive. I rolled my eyes but checked my reflection anyway. Madison wasn't wrong. James Cooper was gorgeous in that classic Wall Street way, all sharp jawline and perfectly tailored suit. But it was his eyes that got me. Warm brown with little gold flecks that crinkled when he smiled. The kind of eyes that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. Miss Mitchell? His handshake was firm, but not aggressive. I appreciate you seeing me on short notice. I'm relocating from Chicago and need to close quickly. The showing went perfectly. James asked intelligent questions about the building's security features and property values. He wasn't just another rich guy throwing money around. He actually knew real estate. Then he turned to me with those eyes. This is exactly what I'm looking for. But I have one more question. Would you have dinner with me tonight? I should have said no. Professional boundaries and all that. But there was something about him that made me want to break my rules. I don't date clients, I said firmly. He smiled. Then I'll withdraw my offer on the penthouse. I can find another property, but I might not find another you. Smooth, right? Madison nearly died when I told her over lunch. Girl, this is like something out of a romance movie, but maybe run a background check first? I laughed it off. James was so open about everything. His investment firm in Chicago, his family in Boston, his plans to expand his business to our city. He took me to incredible restaurants, remembered every little detail I mentioned, and made me feel like I was living in a fairy tale. By summer, we were inseparable. James had bought a different penthouse, through another agent, keeping things professional, and I was spending most nights there. He cooked elaborate meals while I told him about my day. We planned weekend trips to vineyards and art galleries. When he held me at night, everything felt perfect. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. The way he never posted photos of us on social media. How he'd sometimes disappear for days on business trips with spotty communication. The mysterious calls he'd take in another room. But love makes you stupid sometimes, you know? And James knew exactly how to play the devoted boyfriend while keeping his secrets buried. If only I'd listened to Madison's instincts. But that's getting ahead of the story. James proposed on a rooftop garden in October, fairy lights twinkling against the sunset skyline. He'd recreated our first date down to the exact wine we'd shared. When he dropped to one knee, presenting a stunning emerald-cut diamond, I didn't hesitate. Everything felt magical. Perfect. 3 weeks isn't much time to plan an engagement party, Madison said. We were having our weekly coffee meetup, and I could sense her trying to be diplomatic. Most people take a few months at least. James wants to announce it before his company's merger goes public. Plus, his parents are flying in from Boston. The timing just works. I was defensive, already tired of justifying our whirlwind timeline. And you've met these parents? Madison's tone was casual, but her eyes were sharp. When I hesitated, Fallon, honey, they're very private people. Old money, you know? We're meeting them at the engagement party. Even saying it out loud felt wrong. The party planning consumed my next few weeks. James insisted on handling most details through his personal assistant, but I managed to secure the Century Room at the Bradbury Hotel, the most exclusive venue in the city. Everything had to be perfect. 3 days before the party, I met Trevor Shaw, James's business partner, at a charity gala. He was nothing like I expected. Tense, distracted, barely making eye contact when James introduced us. Later, I found him at the bar, knocking back scotch like it was water. Beautiful ring, Trevor said, staring at my hand. James has always had excellent taste in jewelry, and women. Something in his tone made my skin crawl. The next night, at what was supposed to be a quiet business dinner, I met Rachel Bennett. She arrived late, her designer dress and perfect makeup not quite hiding her nervous energy. When she saw me, all color drained from her face. "You must be James's fiancé," Rachel said, her voice trembling slightly. "I've heard so much about you." She excused herself minutes later, practically running from the restaurant. James explained she was a potential investor having personal issues. I almost believed him. The engagement party started like a dream. The Century Room sparkled with $1,000 floral arrangements and champagne fountains. James worked the room like a politician, charming everyone. His parents were mysteriously delayed at the airport. I was too busy greeting guests to dwell on it. Then everything shattered. I was thanking my college roommate for coming when the room suddenly went quiet. A woman in a black cocktail dress stood in the doorway, her posture rigid with fury. She was beautiful in a classic way, maybe 5 years older than me. Something about her seemed familiar, though I knew we'd never met. "So this is the engagement party," she said, her voice carrying across the silent room. "Funny, my husband didn't mention he was getting engaged again." In that moment, as James's face went white and Madison grabbed my arm to steady me, I realized why Rachel had looked so uncomfortable at dinner. She hadn't been a potential investor. She was this woman's sister. The next 24 hours passed in a blur. Madison took me to her lake house, where I alternated between crying and plotting murder. James's calls flooded my phone until Madison blocked his number. I couldn't face my apartment, knowing he had a key. "We need to talk." Diana's text came the next morning. "Rachel's with me. There's more you should know." We met at a private room in Madison's real estate office. Diana looked exhausted. Rachel couldn't meet my eyes. The story they told made my blood run cold. "James Cooper isn't even his real name." Diana spread documents across the table. "When I married him, he was James Collins. Before that, he was James Chen in Seattle. He has a pattern. Successful professional women, whirlwind romances, quick engagements. He's been running this scheme for years. Marriage, joint accounts, then he drains everything and disappears. Diana caught him before he could finish the job, but she's still fighting for her assets in court. The police say it's a civil matter since I technically gave him access to the accounts." Diana's hands shook. "He's too smart to leave evidence of theft." Madison, who'd been quietly taking notes, spoke up. "What about Trevor Shaw? He seemed off at the gala." "Trevor's known all along," Rachel said. "He helps James set up new identities, handles the paperwork. They're running some kind of real estate investment scheme." "Trevor's the weak link," Diana leaned forward. "He's been drinking heavily, making mistakes. Last week he almost called James by his Seattle name at a board meeting. The merger documents have to be filed with the SEC next week. If Trevor's as sloppy as you say..." I thought about all the women before me, about Diana's shaking hands and Rachel's guilty eyes, about Madison's unwavering support and Kyle's determination to help. I felt something shift inside me. The heartbroken fiancé was gone. In her place was someone stronger, someone angry, someone ready for revenge. Weeks later, I sat with Diana at our favorite coffee shop, watching the news coverage of James's conviction. His victims across 3 states had come forward. No more destroyed lives, no more vanishing acts. "Ready for your meeting?" Diana asked. After everything, we'd become close friends. She'd used her settlement to start a foundation helping fraud victims. I was speaking at their first event. More than ready. I checked my reflection. The woman in the mirror was stronger now, wiser. "Think anyone will like and subscribe to this story?" "Are you kidding? It's better than any movie. Though I still can't believe you got Trevor to crack." I laughed. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just taking someone down. It's rising stronger, helping others, and making sure they can never hurt anyone again. Looking back, James did give me one true thing: the knowledge that I'm stronger than any lie, and karma has perfect timing. What would you do if you discovered your fiancé's wife at your own engagement party? Would you quietly walk away, or would you plot the ultimate revenge like Fallon did? Share your answer in the comments below. Would you have handled it differently? Maybe you've experienced something similar, or know someone who has? This story might be over, but the conversation's just getting started. If you enjoyed this tale of revenge served ice cold, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Remember, sometimes the biggest betrayals lead to the strongest comebacks. Turn on notifications so you don't miss our next story.